Good morning and Merry Christmas, everyone. While families across America are waking up to open presents this beautiful Christmas morning, I need to share some important weather information that could affect your travel plans tomorrow. A significant winter storm is approaching the East Coast that could bring 6 to 10 inches of snow and dangerous ice to millions of travelers. Most families don't realize how quickly conditions will change after today's festivity. This isn't just another winter storm. It's a complex weather system that will crush the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast with heavy snow and up to a quarter inch of freezing rain. Tomorrow, Friday, December 26th, Boxing Day, could become extremely dangerous for families traveling home, especially during the evening hours when the storm reaches peak intensity. What makes this particularly concerning is how perfectly normal today feels. Right now, as families gather around Christmas trees and enjoy holiday breakfast, it's important to understand the dramatic weather story unfolding across our entire country. Southern California is experiencing catastrophic flooding, with landslides and terrible impacts as they're seeing upwards of 10 inches or more of precipitation right near Los Angeles. It's really terrible out there. Meanwhile, here on the East Coast, we're enjoying unseasonably warm Christmas temperatures. I'm going to share information that could help keep your family safe during what may be a treacherous travel day tomorrow. In the next minute, I'll explain exactly which counties will see the heaviest snow and most dangerous ice. At the 4-minute mark, I'll walk through the precise timing so you can plan your departure accordingly. Around 8 minutes in, I'll discuss the multiple Arctic invasions setting up for the weeks ahead. Let me start with what's happening right now on this Christmas morning, Thursday, December 25th. We're seeing the final clearing of an impressive snow system that brought up to 18 inches to Lewiston, Maine. That's the highest report I've seen from our previous snow event. Today, you'll notice some snow showers returning to northern areas of the Northeast, like upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, maybe bringing 1 or 2 inches of snowfall in the heavier showers. But tonight, Christmas evening, the dangerous transformation begins. Starting around 10 p.m. Eastern Time, you'll have to translate that an hour or two if you're in other time zones, we're going to start seeing ice and snowfall developing across northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. This is the exact same storm system that will become a major threat for the East Coast tomorrow. Let me paint the national weather picture that makes this East Coast storm even more significant. The continued storminess out west is absolutely devastating. The flooding is catastrophic in Southern California. Landslides, all sorts of terrible impacts as they're seeing upwards of 10 inches or more of precipitation right near LA. We also see lots of snowfall for the Sierra Nevada mountains and some of the Rockies and Cascades as storms continue to batter. Christmas is obviously going to be much warmer than normal across most of the East, as we've talked about. But this extreme weather contrast, California drowning while we enjoy warmth, actually feeds energy into the storm system heading our way. It's like nature is building up power from these dramatic differences across the continent. This represents a beautiful, though sometimes frightening example of how God created the natural laws that control our atmosphere. He designed a system where warm air and cold air must eventually collide, and when they do, that energy has to go somewhere. It becomes the wind, snow, ice, and rain that humble us and remind us of forces beyond our control. Now let's move over to what's really going to get going for Pennsylvania, New York, and areas throughout the Mid-Atlantic. We see the lower peninsula of Michigan getting snowfall for the very northern tip, but central Michigan and southern Michigan will face a lot of ice. Large ice accumulations that could have massive implications for travel and power lines. Tomorrow, Friday, December 26th, Boxing Day, is when the real danger develops. By 4 p.m., we're looking at freezing rain already starting for Pennsylvania, the very western areas of New York, and reaching into Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, and D.C. This timing is particularly problematic because it coincides exactly with when many families will be loading up their cars to head home from Christmas celebrations. By tomorrow evening, we see a very heavy swath of snowfall, basically from the areas near the Finger Lakes of New York into northeastern Pennsylvania, and then areas in northern New Jersey, Long Island, and even New York City they're looking to potentially be in the bullseye for 6 to 10 inches of snowfall, with some areas possibly seeing even more depending on the storm's exact track. Here's where the forecast gets tricky, and I'm throwing a lot of model information your way, but there is some disagreement among forecasters. Some models, like the RRFS model, which is set to replace the NAM model in March, show a much farther south solution. We could see 6 to 10 inches more so through central Pennsylvania, southeastern Pennsylvania, and then into southern and central New Jersey, areas not really expecting heavy snowfall as of now. This uncertainty could have huge implications for areas not really expecting significant snowfall. Think about it. If you're traveling for Christmas, you've likely already done it. You're probably already where you're going to be. So traveling back home might be a lot more difficult than you anticipated, especially if you're in one of these southern areas that could unexpectedly get hit hard. Picture this scenario. You're driving home tomorrow evening with your grandchildren in the back seat, tired from a wonderful Christmas, the car loaded with leftover turkey and new toys. You checked the weather this morning and saw light snow in the forecast. But suddenly, you're driving through what feels like a blizzard, with snow falling so heavily you can barely see the car ahead of you, and the roads are slick as glass from that ice underneath. The most dangerous aspect isn't necessarily the snow amounts. It's that quarter inch of freezing rain that creates a foundation of ice. Imagine trying to walk across your driveway after an ice storm. That slippery feeling where you can't get traction. That's exactly what happens to cars and trucks on highways, except now you're traveling at 60 miles per hour with other vehicles all around you. What makes winter storms particularly tricky is how precise they can be. Albany, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Long Island, these aren't just dots on a map. They're communities where families just like yours will face dangerous travel conditions while others just miles away see clear skies. The precision of these storm tracks is both amazing and terrifying. Here's something that might surprise you. If you're just 20 miles north or south of the main snow corridor, you might only see a dusting while your neighbor gets 8 inches. It's like nature is drawing a line on the map, and being on the wrong side of that line could mean the difference between an easy drive home and being stranded on the highway for hours. Looking beyond tomorrow's storm, we're watching a pattern that will bring colder air to the east over the coming weeks. We see an Arctic blast moving in right around the 28th and 29th time frame as it dips down into the eastern United States. There's also a bit of a winter storm nearby the northeast that could bring some wintry weather, especially to the Great Lakes and northern areas. As we move through the calendar and close out 2025, Mother Nature has other plans. We continue to see repetitive Arctic blasts moving in one after another, which will create opportunities for snow because usually these storms develop between the warm and cold air masses, not just straight through the cold. You want to see this up and down pattern if you're looking for winter weather opportunities. Then we see an even more impactful Arctic blast for the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of January. We might see not just 2, but 3 Arctic blasts showing up in the forecast models. We do get brief warm-ups in between. It's not staying cold and stagnant. But these repetitive Arctic blasts create perfect conditions for storm development. Total snowfall over the next 2 weeks from the European model shows really elevated amounts, not only for the northern plains, upper Midwest, and Great Lakes, but extending into parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. This would amount to many different snow systems, adding up to feet of snowfall for some spots, especially when you see those areas showing close to 2 feet or more of accumulation. Lake effect snow is going to become a major player as we get these Arctic air masses moving across the relatively warm waters of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. It picks up moisture like a giant vacuum cleaner and dumps it as snow on the downwind shores. Buffalo, Syracuse, Watertown, these communities know lake effect snow well, but this pattern could be particularly intense. The temperature contrast is everything when it comes to lake effect snow. Think of it like steam rising from your hot coffee on a cold morning. The bigger the temperature difference between the Arctic air and the warm lake water, the more snow you get. Some areas could see several feet over just a few days from lake effect alone, on top of whatever they get from regular storm systems. What we're seeing develop is a pattern that older folks might remember from winters past. Sustained cold with multiple storm opportunities rather than brief winter episodes. After a mild December that made many people forget about winter, the atmosphere is shifting into a more traditional winter configuration that could dominate through mid-January or beyond. This creates an interesting situation for families who plan their Christmas travel assuming typical modern December patterns. While today feels pleasant and seasonal, tomorrow's journey home could encounter genuinely challenging winter conditions that require the kind of preparation our parents and grandparents always did for winter travel. Now, let me share something that goes beyond meteorology and touches on what really matters during challenging weather. Winter storms have always been part of life, especially for those of us who've lived in snow country for decades. They remind us of our need to prepare wisely, care for our neighbors, and trust in something greater than ourselves when nature shows its power. This isn't punishment or bad timing. It's simply weather following the natural patterns that have governed our climate since the beginning of time. But it's also an opportunity to demonstrate the community spirit that has always helped Americans get through challenging situations together. The way neighbors used to look out for each other during the big storms. Let me share some practical thoughts about preparing for tomorrow and the weeks ahead. If you're planning to drive home tomorrow, consider leaving earlier in the day rather than waiting for evening. Think about it like this. If you were planning a picnic and saw storm clouds building, you'd probably head home before the rain started, right? The same principle applies here. Make sure your car is ready for winter conditions. Imagine you're preparing for a camping trip where you might get stuck overnight. Keep warm blankets in the car, the kind you'd want if you had to sleep in your vehicle. Pack water and snacks, like granola bars or crackers, things that won't spoil if they freeze. Have a flashlight and phone charger, just like you would for a power outage at home. Stay informed about changing conditions the way you'd watch the weather before a golf game or outdoor wedding. Check multiple sources, not just one forecast. Have backup routes planned, like knowing several ways to get home from work. Share your travel plans with family, the same way you'd tell someone when you're going hiking in the mountains. Think about your home's readiness for power outages. Remember the last time your power went out, maybe during a summer storm, and how you wished you'd been better prepared? Check your heating system the way you'd check your car before a long road trip. Make sure you have adequate food and water, like you're preparing for a week when you might not want to go to the grocery store. Charge your devices and have backup power ready, just like you would before a hurricane or severe thunderstorm. Ice storms can knock out power for days, sometimes longer than summer storms, because repair crews can't safely work on icy lines. Think about how you communicate with family during emergencies. Have a plan that doesn't rely only on cell phones. Review your family's winter emergency plan the way you'd review fire escape routes. Make sure everyone knows where the flashlights are, how to stay warm safely without power, what to do if someone gets stuck away from home. It's like having a family meeting before vacation. Everyone should know the plan. Take care of outdoor items that could become projectiles in wind. Think about the last windstorm you experienced. Remember how patio furniture, decorations, or loose items became dangerous? Winter storms often bring gusty winds that can turn holiday decorations into hazards. Bring in anything you'd worry about during a severe thunderstorm. Check on your elderly neighbors and family members, especially those who might remember winter storms from decades past, but may not have the physical strength they once had. A simple phone call to ask if they need anything from the store or offering to pick up their prescriptions could make a huge difference in their safety and peace of mind. Remember that this weather pattern could affect your area multiple times over the coming weeks. Stock up on essentials now, the way you might before a busy stretch at work when you know you won't have time to shop. Think about the inconvenience of trying to get to the store during a snowstorm versus the peace of mind of being prepared ahead of time. Trust official weather warnings the way you'd trust a doctor's advice about your health. When authorities recommend avoiding travel or taking special precautions, they're not trying to ruin your plans. They're trying to prevent tragedies. Remember, No family gathering or work obligation is worth the risk if conditions become genuinely dangerous. Here's the timeline that matters most. Today, Thursday, Christmas Day. Enjoy your celebrations, but keep an ear open for weather updates, like checking your phone between family conversations. Tonight, Christmas evening, around 10 p.m., the storm system begins developing over the Great Lakes. That's when the weather story really begins. Tomorrow morning, Friday, Boxing Day, conditions should still be manageable for travel in most areas, like a cloudy day before a summer thunderstorm. But by afternoon, around 4 p.m., freezing rain begins making roads hazardous. Imagine that moment when rain starts freezing on your windshield and you know it's time to get inside. Tomorrow evening represents the most dangerous period, when heavy snow combines with peak travel time. It's like rush hour during a thunderstorm, except instead of rain, you're dealing with accumulating snow and ice. Saturday morning, the main storm moves offshore, but road conditions remain poor while crews work on snow removal. Looking ahead to next week, the first significant cold air arrives around December 28th and 29th. Genuine winter cold that will make you remember why your grandparents always kept extra firewood. This sets up the pattern for what could be a more traditional winter through early January. As we head into the new year, early indicators suggest continued active weather that could bring additional opportunities for winter storms. This represents the kind of sustained winter pattern that older generations would recognize. Real winter with real consequences for those who aren't prepared. What gives me hope during patterns like this is remembering how communities have always come together during winter storms. I think about neighbors with snowblowers clearing each other's driveways, people checking on elderly folks, families sharing firewood or hot meals when power goes out. That's the America I know. Be part of that spirit. Check on your neighbors the way people in small towns always have. If you have a generator and your neighbor doesn't, think about how you might help. If you're comfortable driving in snow and someone else isn't, offer assistance. Share resources the way farming communities always did during hard times. Scripture reminds us to not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. During winter weather, when people are most vulnerable, your kindness could be exactly what someone needs to get through safely. Think about how good it feels when someone helps you during a difficult time. As we prepare for this weather together, remember that preparation and faith work hand in hand. We prepare not out of fear, but out of the same practical wisdom our ancestors showed when they made sure the woodshed was full before winter arrived. We help each other because that's what good neighbors do. The best time to prepare for any weather event is before it arrives, like getting your car serviced before a long trip rather than waiting for it to break down. Please take these forecasts seriously and make appropriate preparations today while stores are open and roads are clear. We've successfully navigated challenging winters before, and we'll get through this one too. The same God who created the natural laws governing our weather also gave us the wisdom to prepare for it and the compassion to help each other when the going gets tough. This winter pattern will test our preparation and bring our communities together in ways we haven't experienced recently. With proper preparation, careful decision-making, and neighbors helping neighbors the way it's always been done, we can navigate this period safely and be stronger for it. In my next forecast, I'll have updates on how tomorrow's storm develops and what we can expect as we head into this more active winter pattern. The extended outlook suggests we'll need to stay weather aware through early January, so I'll keep you informed every step of the way. Until then, finish enjoying this beautiful Christmas day with your families. Stay safe, stay prepared, and remember that no travel plan is worth risking your loved one's safety. When winter weather becomes dangerous, choose caution. When others need help, choose kindness. When storms test us, choose hope. May God bless you and keep your family safe through this winter weather, and may we all show the kind of neighborly spirit that has always made our community strong during challenging times. Have a wonderful rest of your Christmas, everyone.